if anybody's wondered why there hadn't been a video from me in a while, it's I had a little wreck, and I'll show you the clip from that in just a little bit, but I wanted to kind of explain what's been going on. I hit a bad spot in the road coming into a curve, and just as I was starting to counter steer into the curve, I hit that spot and it jerked my wheel back straight and took me straight off into a ditch. And instead of trying to lay the bike down, having the presence of mind to do that as I was on my way down, I tried to ride it out and see if I could save it, which was a huge mistake. So once I get down to the bottom of the ditch, I hit this big hole in the ground, which caught the front end of my bike, sent me over the handlebars and into some sort of post that AT&T had put up. It's probably only about a little over knee high, but I hit it with I don't know what. What I ended up with was a brain bleed, a lacerated spleen so bad that they wanted to go ahead and put me under and do surgery to fix that, even though I had things going on with my brain that normally you wouldn't do surgery during. This, and I'll show y'all pictures of the hardware that I've got from all this too. That humerus is pretty well shattered right at the elbow, and then the ulna is also broken. The elbow, the first time that I looked at it, I don't know if it was an MRI or a CAT scan or whatever, but it looked like vanilla pudding where my elbow bone was all supposed to be. I don't know what that was. It doesn't look that way from the regular x-rays. And the elbow actually bends a little bit, so I don't think the elbow is actually broken. It's just all the bones around it. And now my leg, the lower leg's fine, but the head of my femur, right here where it meets the knee, the orthopedic surgeon said it looked like it just turned into a grenade when it hit whatever it hit. And it's absolutely shattered, and it still is. And bear in mind, this happened September the 29th. It's now 3 weeks later, and I've been home for 3 days, which also is why my house looks the way it looks. So y'all forgive that. Only so much we can do. It's been nearly a month-long crisis right now, so things are just falling by the wayside. My brain is better. I still trip over a word or two every now and then when I'm trying to speak, but it's getting better. It's a lot better than it was. The spleen's fixed. Just went back to the orthopedic surgeon this morning, and they took some of the bracing out of this immobilizer brace. So there's been some improvement there. I still can't put weight on that left foot at all. I'm going back in another 3 weeks, and maybe they'll tell me I can put some weight on it and start doing a little bit more intensive therapy with it, trying to get eventually to where I can walk again. It's not going to be anytime soon. Like I say, I can't even put weight on this foot right now. The elbow, they're actually letting me bend it just a little bit. There's a giant piece of hardware right here, and until today there was a big cast on it that was so heavy I couldn't even raise my own arm, and now that's about as far as I can still go, even with this brace on. So it's going to be a long time before I'm back to any semblance of anything normal. For those of you that watch my channel that are thinking about getting a bike in the future, please don't let this deter you. Don't let it pull you back. This was absolutely the most freak accident type thing that could have happened to me, and it was just the perfect storm of bad luck as far as how it happened and how I landed. If you're going to ride, you're probably going to go down at some point. 99% chance it's not going to be as bad as what mine was. This is terrible. I could have died. I did die laying there. I stopped breathing and they resuscitated me while we were waiting on the helicopter to pick me up. As far as going back and watching my footage of it, there's 45 minutes of me and 3 other guys having a big old time cutting up, running up and down the roads, having a good time. And then I crashed, and there's 30 minutes where the GoPro came off my helmet, landed in the grass beside me, and you can hear me trying to breathe, unconscious. All my friends, all my bystanders, all the bystanders that stopped, trying to attend to me. And then you can hear the helicopter and the ambulance and all that stuff show up. And honestly, I can watch myself crash 1,000 times. That don't bother me, watching the actual crash. But listening to the people that were trying to tend to me after the fact kind of does get me. I've watched it once, and I really don't want to watch it anymore or listen to it anymore. There's nothing you can see but grass, but you can hear everything that's being said, and it's just not pretty. It's not anything I want to relive again. If you do ride, just be careful. You know, you're riding a bike, it's dangerous anyway. You're taking a risk. Try to minimize the risk that you take as you're riding, because, you know, as much as you don't think it could happen to you, I didn't think it could happen to me. Sometimes bad things just do happen to good people. And when it's this bad, it sucks. I'm surprised at what a positive outlook that I have, considering how independent I am and how reluctant I've always been to ask for help doing anything, and now I have to ask for help doing almost everything. There's not a whole lot of things I can do on my own. Where was I going? I mean, at least I can do that. I'm going to show you guys the crash footage at the end of this. I'm also going to try, if I can get the editing software to work and do it right, I'm going to show you the x-rays that they took this morning at the orthopedic surgeon, showing all the hardware and stuff that I've got. Other than that, I could make probably a couple more videos talking about my experience going through surgery and rehab and all that stuff the last 3 weeks. If y'all want to hear about any of that stuff, I mean, there's a couple of funny stories, and there's some kind of sad stuff, and some people that I've met. If y'all care anything about hearing that or seeing another video, let me know in the comments. Otherwise, this may be the last video that I make for quite a long time. The only other thing I wanted to say was, I mean, if you ask me, because a lot of people have, would I get back on a bike again? Yeah, dude, if you set a bike in front of me right now and I was able to get on it and ride, I would get on it and ride right this second. That does not necessarily mean that I'll ever have another bike, because as much as I love riding, as much as there's nothing else like it in the world, I'm also taking into consideration my wife and her feelings about it, and the fact that I was 45 minutes from home when she got the call that this had happened to me, and by the time she got to the hospital where they took me, I was already back in surgery, so she still didn't get to see me until way after. And that's a lot of time for her to have the absolute worst possible outcomes going through her mind. And then even past that, after surgery, when my brain was still a little bit iffy and they had me on all kind of medicines, I was pretty terrible to my wife. And she has kind of taken that in stride now and kind of passed it off as the meds and the brain injury and that kind of stuff. But it's still sitting in the back of her mind, and I know, and I still feel bad about it, even though I couldn't help it. And not only that stuff, but like even still today, we've had to make huge adjustments. We've had to redo this whole house so that I can get places that I need to go with this wheelchair, because not every doorway was wide enough. We've had to take off a lot of doors just so I can squeeze through. We've had to make all kind of accommodations for me, and she's having to take on a lot bigger workload taking care of me. Plus, she's still got a full-time job that has been pretty much the breadwinner of our household. I work, but I don't make a whole ton of money. She does pretty well. And she's had to take time off to tend to me. She had to take this whole morning off to take me to the orthopedic surgeon again. We've got another doctor's appointment tomorrow at 2:30. We've got another doctor's appointment the day after that at 1:30. So she's taken 3 days of work off this week, which luckily she can kind of work a little bit at least from home, but it's not the same as her being in the office. So taking all that stuff into consideration, I may ride again, but if I do, it's going to be because she says it's okay and she's comfortable with it. I'm not going to force a motorcycle on her kind of the way I did with the first one. So, I mean, you can call that whatever you want to. You can look down on it, but knowing what all I've put her through and put this household through, letting her be the be-all, end-all decision of that just seems like the manly thing to do as far as that goes. And that's coming from a big dumb redneck. So you can take that however you want to. And on that note, here's some crash footage. God damn it. Fuck.